The bar was louder than usual that Friday night. Neon lights flickered over pool tables, country rock rattled the jukebox, and the clinking of bottles blended with laughter and curses. It was the kind of place where truckers, bikers, and locals gathered to forget the week. Behind the counter, Emily moved quickly from one table to the next. She was young, early 20s, with tired eyes that betrayed long nights and heavier burdens than most her age should carry. Despite the exhaustion, she smiled at customers, scribbling orders, sliding beers, balancing trays like it was second nature. Her apron was stained with ketchup and coffee, her blonde hair pulled into a messy bun. To most people, she was just another waitress. But to Emily, every shift meant survival. She was saving every dollar she could. Rent, hospital bills, and something no one in the bar knew about. At the far corner, the rumble of motorcycles shook the wooden walls. 4 bikers walked in, boots heavy on the floorboards, leather jackets creaking with each step. Their presence drew stares. Some people shifted uncomfortably, others ignored them, pretending not to notice. Leading them was a tall man with a beard like steel wool and eyes that scanned the room as if he owned it. His name was Chase. Tattoos crawled up his neck and down his arms, and his presence carried weight, half threat, half mystery. The bar quieted just enough for whispers to stir before laughter resumed. The bikers ordered whiskey, their voices rough. Emily walked over with a tray, steady though her heart pounded. She had dealt with men like them before, loud, reckless, unpredictable. When she leaned down to place the glasses, one of the younger bikers, clearly drunk already, reached for her wrist. "Pretty little thing, aren't ya?" he slurred. Emily forced a polite smile, twisting her wrist free. "Here's your drinks. That'll be 15 even." But before she could step away, the man grabbed her apron string and tugged. "Come on, stay a while. Don't be shy." Emily froze, tray trembling in her hands. The bar's chatter dimmed as eyes turned toward the corner. Tension spread like spilled beer. She tried to pull back, but the man laughed, tugging harder. Her shirt stretched until, rip. The sound was sharp, cruel. Cotton tore across her shoulder blade. Gasps filled the room. A woman covered her mouth. Someone muttered, "Jesus." Emily stumbled forward, clutching her chest to hold the fabric together. Her breath hitched, face flushed with humiliation. She wasn't just embarrassed, she was terrified. And then, silence. Because Chase, the leader, was no longer sitting. His chair screeched across the floor as he stood. His eyes locked on Emily's bare shoulder, and he froze. Not with anger, not with drunken amusement. He froze like a man who had just seen a ghost. The bar went quiet enough to hear the hum of the neon lights. On Emily's back, just below her shoulder blade, ink curled into the shape of an angel holding a child. It wasn't a random tattoo. It was exact, detailed, personal. Chase's chest rose and fell, his jaw clenched. The other bikers looked at him, confused. "What the hell, boss?" one muttered. But Chase didn't answer. He stared at the tattoo as if his world had shifted. His hands shook before he balled them into fists. Then, in a low, dangerous voice, he growled, "Put her down." The drunk biker hesitated, glancing between Emily and Chase. "I was just..." Before he could finish, Chase lunged. His fist cracked against the man's jaw, sending him sprawling across the table. Glass shattered, whiskey spilled. Chairs scraped as people backed away. The bar erupted in chaos, but Chase didn't care. He loomed over the fallen biker, his voice echoing with fury. "You don't touch her. Ever." The man groaned, clutching his face. The other bikers stood, uncertain, but Chase raised a hand. "Sit down." And they did. Emily stood frozen, her torn shirt still clutched to her chest, trembling. She didn't understand. Why would a biker, her supposed tormentor, defend her with such intensity? And why did he look at her like he knew her? Chase turned, his rough features softened by something no one expected, grief. "That tattoo," he whispered, almost to himself. Then louder, to her. "Where did you get that tattoo?" Emily blinked, confused. It was my mom's. She had it before she died. I got the same one last year, to remember her." The entire bar was silent again. Chase's throat tightened. He swallowed hard, his voice shaking. "What was her name?" Emily hesitated. "Anna." The name struck like thunder. Chase's chest collapsed as if the air had been punched out of him. His knees almost buckled. Anna, he repeated, eyes wide, voice breaking. He reached into his jacket with trembling hands and pulled out an old, weathered wallet. From it, he unfolded a photograph, creased, faded. A young woman, smiling, with the same angel tattoo on her shoulder. Emily's eyes widened. Her breath caught. "That's my mom," she whispered. Chase's hands shook as he held the photo tighter, tears threatening behind his hardened stare. "She was my sister." The bar gasped. Emily's jaw dropped, she couldn't speak. "My little sister," Chase continued, voice thick with emotion. "I lost her 20 years ago. She cut ties with me after I joined the club. I never saw her again." Emily's eyes filled with tears. Her knees wobbled. "You're my uncle?" Chase's face crumpled. The hardened biker, the man who commanded fear with a glance, was suddenly just a broken brother staring at the last piece of family he had left. "I thought I lost her forever. And now," his voice cracked, "you're here." Emily's tears spilled. For years, she had believed her mother's side of the family was gone, that there was no one left. Now, in the most unexpected place, in the most brutal moment, family had found her. Chase took off his leather jacket without hesitation, draping it over her shoulders to cover the torn shirt. His large, scarred hands lingered gently, protective in a way she'd never felt before. The bar, once rowdy, now felt sacred. No one spoke. No one dared. Every eye was on them, witnessing something raw and real. The drunk biker who had ripped her shirt tried to crawl to his feet, mumbling apologies, but Chase's glare pinned him down. "Get out," he growled. And he did, stumbling toward the door. Chase turned back to Emily, his voice softer than anyone thought possible from a man like him. "You don't have to be alone anymore." Emily's lip trembled. I thought I was." "Not anymore," Chase said, pulling her into a hug. His leather smelled of smoke and road dust, but to Emily, it felt like safety. For the first time in years, she wasn't carrying her burdens alone. The bar stayed silent, every patron knowing they'd just witnessed something they'd never forget. A rough biker, feared by many, had unraveled into a grieving brother and a protective uncle. Emily buried her face against his chest, tears soaking into his shirt. Chase held her tighter, as if to make up for all the years lost. For a long moment, neither of them moved, and then, slowly, the bar erupted, not with chaos, but with applause. It started with a single clap, then another, until the entire room was on its feet. Not for violence, not for spectacle, but for the strange, beautiful twist of fate that had brought family together in the unlikeliest of places. Chase looked around, eyes glistening, then back at Emily. His voice was low, certain. "You're coming with me tonight. You don't belong here, working yourself to the bone just to survive. You're family, and I take care of my family." Emily hesitated, torn between fear of the unknown and the sudden warmth of belonging. But when she looked into his eyes that held pain, regret, and hope, she nodded. The rest of the night blurred. Chase settled the tab for every customer in the bar. He guided Emily out, shielding her from stares, his arm firmly around her shoulders. Outside, the night air was cool, the rumble of motorcycles waiting. Emily glanced up at the stars, feeling something she hadn't in years, peace. For the first time, she believed tomorrow could be better. And as the engines roared to life and Chase promised her she would never be alone again, the world seemed just a little less cruel.